because you got there in 05, obviously dealt with the injury stuff, but you come from Greer, South Carolina, and people might forget you played with your brother, Adam Crisp, as well, who was there. But just talk about the recruiting process for you. Obviously, again, at that point, I mean, I think to when you were in high school, I mean, South Carolina had gone to Omaha 3 straight years. I mean, Tanner had that thing rolling, right? So just talk about the recruiting process for you. I think if I remember correctly, you grew up a Clemson fan. Is that right? Did you?
Yeah, I mean,
kind of favoring the Clemson side? Yeah, just talk about that, the recruiting stuff.
Yeah, well, unofficially, yeah, we were. I went to all the Clemson basketball camps growing up, and basketball was really my first sport that I actually loved. I played t-ball and little league and stuff like that, but basketball was really, really what I was passionate about when I was young. I used to love Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, the Bulls, in the early '90s and late '90s. But so high school, I went to Riverside High School. I actually went to Greer High School the first 2 years. Transferred to Riverside High School to play baseball there, and it was really a powerhouse. Honestly, we were ranked number 1 in the nation out of all high school teams. I think we finished number 3 in my second year. We lost 2 games in 2 years, and those 2 games we really only lost to a team out of Florida and California. So we had a team that was pretty dominant in the high school sports, and obviously what comes with that is recruitment. So initially I had went to West Point, the military academy, because I really wanted to do athletics. I love baseball, but I really was looking past that. And so I had actually signed or unofficially signed to West Point my late junior year, I think early senior year. And little thing called the draft happened. And it really opened my eyes. I didn't realize I was going to get drafted out of high school, but I did. Two of our teammates and me, 3 total, got drafted by the same team, the Orioles. So probably about a week after that, it was really crunch time. I had about 2 weeks before I had to go to boot camp. And we had to do 8 weeks of boot camp before we became a freshman at West Point. So I really had to make a decision on what I really wanted to do. And as an 18-year-old, that was pretty hard. I didn't want to pass up that education because I knew not a lot of people got into West Point. We had to really have to act to Congress to even get in. I had to get senators to write letters, blah, blah, blah. So it came down to if I just, I really wanted to play baseball. And I knew that, backtrack, 9/11 happened. And at the time when I was coming out of high school at 04, we were in war. So I knew that after 4 years of going to West Point that I was probably going to be shipped off to Afghanistan or Iraq. And that was a huge part of it as well. I really wasn't prepared for that, wasn't willing to do that at that time. So that kind of played into the decision to open up my recruiting again, and had to make that difficult phone call to West Point. And I'm trying to remember back, but I don't even think it was not even a day, maybe half a day. And Monty Lee called my phone. I was actually at the beach, and there was no real conversation. It was just, hey, you're coming here. I already got the date set. I'll see you when you get here. And I hung up the phone, and that's how I became a Gamecock.
Oh, Monty Lee. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Monty Lee, man. He's a great guy. And I really enjoyed my time there with him.
Yeah, definitely beloved. Everybody you talk to has nothing but great things to say about Coach Lee. I'm curious to get your take on Ray Tanner, because I'm curious, is Tanner different in the recruiting process than he is? Because obviously, when you played in your era, because it's funny, I had Trey Dyson on before, and I'll just never forget Trey telling me, I was telling him about what guys like Michael Roth and Christian Walker and guys in that era said, because everybody talks about how tough Tanner was. But, Dyson laughed and was like, those guys have no idea. Tanner softened up, you know what I mean, once it got later in his career.
Oh, yeah.
But, was he that, he was a mean cuss. Was he the same mean cuss in the recruiting process? Was he warm and fuzzy in recruiting, and then, all of a sudden you're like, oh, my God, this dude is a maniac? Or was it he's pretty just across the board, a hard ass? What was –
my recruiting was different. Right. I didn't really go down there for a visit. Like I said, it was just a real phone call, honestly. So I didn't speak to Tanner at all, but I can tell you about other high prospects that came through that we, took out as they came through the recruiting cycle. And yeah, I guess it would, I don't want to, when I say this, I don't mean any disrespect, but I guess it depended on the person, honestly. Right. If it was a Reese Havens or if it was a Justin Smoke, I mean, Tanner was the nicest person you'd ever speak to. But if it was a person like me that didn't, you know what I mean? I'm just coming down there as a whim. Yeah, I didn't really speak to him and didn't have anything to really do with Tanner unless, until I stepped on the field. But you are correct in one thing. I do not think that the recruits from the 2010 and on had any idea of what Ray Tanner was. Yeah, they don't have a clue of the things that he would do.
Right.
No, yeah, he was a great coach. But he was very, very, very much of a disciplinarian, strict, no facial hair. Right. If you had even a 1-day growth, it was he'd come out to the field literally with shaving cream and a razor, and embarrass you. Yeah.
Also, that changed a lot because I think of guys like Matt Price and Adrian Morales.
Oh yeah,
the beards and everything. I mean,
here, right? It was like, what, when did this change? And the staff of honestly. It was good to see, though. I mean, he opened his eyes.
The evolution, yeah.
Character and the players having character, and that obviously helping them on the field when they feel right and they feel like they can be themselves.
Like a guy like Michael Roth would have never survived in those early 2000s. Like his antics.
I love Michael, but he would have been probably kicked off. Yeah.
Man.